Discover the incredible transformation of a simple woman who awoke to a life-changing breakfast. In the heart of a small Midwestern town, Sarah awoke to the familiar scent of burnt toast wafting through her modest kitchen. It was another chaotic morning, a whirlwind of cereal spills and the constant bickering of her two kids, Noah and Mia, over who could get the biggest bite of their hastily prepared breakfast. At 34, she was both exhausted and hopeful, pouring every ounce of energy into her children while silently wrestling beneath the judgmental glares of neighbors who whispered, "Just another overworked member of the working class." The days felt like Sisyphean tasks, her dreams of brighter tomorrows shadowed by relentless bills and whispers that followed her like ghosts in the night. As she turned to drown her frustration in a cup of bitter coffee, something caught her eye. In a dusty cabinet, tucked away behind old cookbooks, she discovered her late grandmother's battered recipe book. The faded handwriting pulled her in, igniting waves of warmth and nostalgia. Each recipe told stories of love. Every meal shared over that wooden table echoed community and togetherness, something she dreamed to recreate. Inspired, Sarah made a bold decision. She would host a community breakfast to honor local veterans, and reach out to those facing economic inequality like herself. "Sarah, what are you thinking?" Tom, her brother, snapped when she shared her idea. "Don't waste your time playing the hero. You need to focus on making money." His words stung, revealing a fracture they'd never fully mended since childhood. The debate continued, echoing through their noisy household, escalating emotions leaving Sarah feeling inadequate and lost. The affluent townsfolk, when she revealed her plans, dismissed her efforts with condescending remarks that twisted her heart. Naive and misguided, they said, casting shadows on her hopes. The days leading to that breakfast were fraught with self-doubt and mounting anxiety. Low attendance haunted her thoughts, and edged remarks filled her ears like buzzing flies. Just when it felt like the weight of the world might crush her dreams, Noah and Mia decided they would speak at the breakfast. She watched wide-eyed as they penned their own little speeches, admiration for their mother's resilience spilling onto the pages. Their innocent words danced in her heart, reminding her of just why she was doing this. It strengthened her resolve. Maybe it was just about her. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as the day of the breakfast arrived, clouds rolled in like an unwanted specter. A storm threatened to derail her efforts, whispers of "I told you so" trailing behind her like shadows. Heart pounding, Sarah found herself staring at the door, feeling ready to yield to the storm's fury or stand against it. As the first local veteran stepped through the door, with a soft smile breaking through the tension, Sarah could hardly breathe. Would this gathering of hope be the very spark to challenge the chasm of economic inequality that divided her town, or merely highlight how far they still had to go? The storm raged outside, but inside her heart was a flicker of hope, waiting to light the way. The storm drummed against the roof, a relentless reminder of the chaos outside. Yet inside, the warmth of the kitchen buzzed with laughter and pitter-patter as veterans shared stories with one another across the tables Sarah had painstakingly set up. She glanced around at the mismatched chairs, each one holding someone with a tale deeply etched into their lives. Strangers became friends, a united front against isolation, even if just for this moment. As more guests trickled in, anxiety lifted a fraction from Sarah's shoulders. Noah and Mia stood beside her, their small hands gripping the microphones nervously. The sight of them, determined to share their speeches, tugged at her heart. She couldn't risk losing what they had built here, the camaraderie and spirit she once longed for but thought lost forever. "You got this," she whispered to them, wiping a bead of sweat from her brow. The children nodded, encouraged. The air filled with the aroma of pancakes sizzling on the stove and the comforting scent of freshly brewed coffee. Sarah had prioritized everything, every meal served, every table decorated with care, each element woven with the love she inherited from her grandmother. It was more than a breakfast, It was a homecoming for those who felt forgotten. Laughter erupted when a veteran recounted how he'd attempted to bake but turned the kitchen into a disaster zone. Sarah's heart swelled at the collective chuckles, seeing barriers melt away for just an instant. Tom strolled in unexpectedly, cutting through Sarah's delicate moment like a knife. He hovered at the doorway, arms crossed, a scowl etched on his face. "What are you doing here?" she mouthed silently, tension tightening in her chest. His brows softened when he spotted Noah and Mia. The children's innocence washed over his irritation like a soothing balm. Suddenly, the buzz in the room shifted. Tom approached and hesitated before reaching for the microphone himself. I didn't think anyone would show up," he mumbled, addressing the crowd, the nervousness at odds with his usual bravado. "Sarah, you've brought everyone together. We could really use more of this in our lives." The moment surprised all of them. Sarah's heart lurched. Was this an acknowledgement of her efforts, an olive branch? As Tom stumbled through his speech, Sarah felt tears prick her eyes. This imperfect brother of hers was finally seeing that community was worth fighting for. The warmth in the room enveloped them, and collective nods of agreement and smiles flickered around the table. The veterans began to share their stories, voices mixing and intertwining, creating a tapestry of courage and resilience. Tears streamed down faces, not from sadness but from the power of connection. Every word they spoke resonated deeply, bridging generations and experiences. Stirring within Sarah was not just pride but a renewed sense of purpose. She had done more than prepare breakfast, she had reignited hope. Yet a seed of doubt still lingered. What came after this moment? Had she truly laid the foundation for change, or would the weight of reality quickly crush this fragile bond? As the storm began to ebb, the sun timidly peeked through the clouds outside, casting glimmers of light into the room. With each swing of the door, she watched the world outside, wondering what awaited them beyond this day. Would the spirit of connection they'd discovered outlast the fleeting moments of camaraderie? The answer rested in both her heart and their hands, united as she beckoned everyone to gather for a final toast. "Here's to new beginnings," she declared, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. But as the last glasses clinked, she suddenly noticed a figure standing hesitantly in the shadows, a stranger who looked lost yet hopeful. Who was this person, and what story did they bring with them? The room filled with laughter and the soft clinking of glasses, but that quiet figure brought an unexpected hush. Sarah's heart began to race as she caught a glimpse of the stranger, a tall woman with a gentle face, framed by wet, wind-tousled hair. She appeared uncertain, glancing at the cluster of veterans and volunteers, almost wishing to disappear. "Excuse me," Sarah said, stepping away from the crowd, her gut twisting with concern. She approached the stranger carefully, her voice soft. "Are you okay? Would you like to join us?" The woman looked up, her eyes shimmering with confusion and vulnerability. "I didn't mean to intrude. I heard the laughter from outside and it drew me in." Her words came out as a whisper, yet they were heavy with an unspoken burden. "Not at all. You're welcome here," Sarah replied, gesturing to an empty chair at the far end of the table. "We're celebrating our community. I think you could add to that." As she took a tentative step closer, Sarah decided to introduce her to the group. "Everyone, this is..." She paused, encouraging the woman to share. "Lily," she offered, her voice steadier now. "I'm just passing through." She offered a shy smile, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. Tom, still buzzing from his earlier speech, stepped in. "Passing through? This place has a way of pulling you in, trust me." He laughed lightly, and it felt as if he was inviting her into their world, urging her to let go of her hesitations. The guests turned their attention to the newcomer, faces lighting up with curious smiles. A moment of silence lingered in the air, and Sarah could feel the tension lifting slowly. Lily mustered the confidence to share. "I used to live here. A long time ago." Her voice wavered, and Sarah could see a flicker of nostalgia, possibly sorrow. "I was searching for something, I didn't know what. I thought maybe I could find it here." Questions formed in Sarah's mind. Why had Lily left? What had prompted her return? But the air was thick with unspoken stories, and she knew better than to pry too quickly. Sometimes, coming home is about finding yourself again, Sarah said, her heart aching for this woman. If you stay long enough, you might just find that light you're looking for. As Sarah settled back into her seat, she could sense the veterans leaning forward, intrigued by Lily's honesty. They had their own tales of returning to places that once felt like home. Laughter and camaraderie resumed, but it was with an undercurrent of something deeper, a shared understanding of searching and needing connection. With pancakes being served and coffee refilled, Noah and Mia returned to their chairs. They were still bubbling with energy from their speeches, drawn in by the new energy Lily brought. They reached out, introducing themselves enthusiastically, and Lily's smile began to widen, breaking some of the walls she had built around herself. It was magic, really witnessing this transformation unfold. Lily was no longer just an outsider, she was becoming part of something much bigger. Suddenly, a door burst open, the wind pushed it wide and a chill trickled in. A familiar voice boomed in. "What have we got here? A reunion without me?" It was Wally, another veteran with a larger-than-life spirit. The room erupted in a lively cheer, and just like that, the energy shifted again. Tom leaned back in his chair with a smirk on his face, feeling the pulse of this renewed gathering. This place just got a whole lot livelier. But as Wally joined the table, Sarah's mind had begun to spin again with questions about Lily. What journey had brought her back, and could she remain in this circle of newfound friends? As laughter echoed, and stories flowed, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The moment Lily had stepped in, she had become a part of something, a connection that could change lives. What would she decide next? Would she choose to stay and embrace this community, or would she slip away into the night again, lost to the very shadows that had welcomed her in? The air buzzed with excitement as Wally settled into the mix, his booming voice bringing everyone's attention back to the laughter and stories. The warmth of the gathering wrapped around Lily like a soft blanket, easing her initial uncertainty. It felt surprisingly good to be here, in this room filled with light and energy. All right. I'm ready to hear some tales," Wally declared, looking around the table. His eyes landed on Lily. "And who might this lovely lady be?" "Lily," she said, her voice more confident now, buoyed by the warmth of the group. "I'm just visiting." "Visiting, huh? We don't let visitors leave without a good story." He laughed heartily, and it was infectious. The room filled with light chatter and clinking glasses, as everyone welcomed her with open arms. Tom leaned closer to Lily, a mischievous grin on his face. "Trust me, you'll love it here. We have a tradition of sharing our most ridiculous stories over breakfast. You never know what might come up." Lily laughed gently, feeling the walls around her heart begin to crack. "Okay, I'm game," she replied, a hint of a challenge in her tone. Wally raised his glass. "To stories that stick with us." The group echoed the sentiment, holding their glasses in a toast. For the first time in a long time, Lily felt like she belonged. As pancake after pancake was served, Sarah watched Lily's transformation with a sense of protectiveness. The shy, hesitant woman had shifted into someone eager to engage, her smile brightening with every story shared. "I once thought a raccoon was my lost dog," Mia recounted, tears of laughter in her eyes. "I called it for hours, and it just stared at me like I was the crazy one." The laughter roared through the room, and Lily's heart soared. Maybe this was what she had been searching for, a place to be herself, surrounded by people who understood the brokenness she felt inside. Suddenly, Lily felt a nudge. It was Noah, his curiosity shining through. "So, what's your story? What made you come back?" The question hung in the air, heavy with potential. She took a breath, searching for the right words. "My mother passed away last year," she started slowly, feeling the weight of honesty. "This town, it was home to her. I thought maybe if I returned, I could feel something. Find a piece of her." The laughter faded, and an understanding silence washed over the table. Sarah reached across and gently squeezed Lily's hand, her eyes filled with empathy. "I'm so sorry for your loss," Sarah said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. The depth of compassion in the room enveloped Lily, igniting a spark of connection. Wally, usually the loudest in the room, became still. He shared his own story of loss, recalling friends he had lost. It's tough. But finding connections, even in their absence, that's what keeps their memory alive, he said, an undertone of solidarity in his voice. Lily's eyes sparkled with unshed tears. She realized she wasn't alone. They all had scars, stories woven into their beings. I didn't expect this, she admitted, her voice steady. I didn't expect to feel so welcome. The warmth enveloping her felt real. Would she dare to be vulnerable? Could this really be a place of healing? But just as she felt like she was on the brink of an emotional breakthrough, the door swung open again. A man stood there, out of breath and wide-eyed, as if he had come from a world completely different. I need your help. There's been an accident on Baker's Hill. The laughter paused, and every heart in the room tightened with anticipation. What had just been a moment of connection was now about to thrust them into chaos once more. Lily felt a pulse of energy rush through her. This gathering might be starting a new chapter, but it was quickly shifting gears. Would she run back into her past, or would she step forward with her new friends, ready for whatever awaited them? Lily's heart raced as she locked eyes with the newcomer. The energy in the room shifted instantly, the moment of solace shattered like glass. What had felt like a warm embrace was now a tight knot of worry. What happened? Wally's voice cut through the tension, authoritative yet concerned. There's been a bad crash. On Baker's Hill. We need to get there fast. The man's voice was shaky, panic threading through his urgency. Sarah shot up from her chair, her brows drawn tight with worry. Is everyone okay? Do you know I don't know? Just please, we have to go. The man pleaded, his breath still coming in ragged gasps. Lily felt her pulse quicken. She wanted to help, but dread washed over her. She was still mourning her own losses. Was she ready to face someone else's crisis? Just moments ago, she had felt the warm glow of connection. Now, the heaviness of the world pressed in. Noah grabbed his jacket, determination alight in his eyes. Let us go. We can't just sit here. Others chimed in, moving quickly. Wally grabbed a flashlight from the table, and the chatter turned to frantic planning. They were a team now, united by a sudden purpose. Lily, you coming? Tom glanced over, his eyes bright with responsibility, the joviality of moments before replaced by something deeper. Silence fell over her for a heartbeat. She hesitated. Her instinct told her to stay, to hide from the chaos. But a flicker of courage sparked within. This was different. This wasn't her grief. This was life reaching out, demanding action. Yes, she said firmly, rising from her chair. I'm coming. As they moved toward the door, Sarah fell in step beside her. Stay close, she murmured, the warmth of her presence grounding. The group piled into a mix of cars, voices blending into a cacophony of concern. Lily felt the vibrations of anxiety in the air as they sped towards Baker's Hill. She sat in the back seat, knuckles white on her lap, her mind racing. What would they find? Could she handle it? The weight of her mother's absence lingered, but she reminded herself of the connections forming around her. She took a deep breath, a reminder that even in chaos, support could surface. As they neared the hill, the scene unfolded before them like a nightmare. An accident had snarled the road, twisting metal and the faint sound of sirens piercing the air. The cars had come to rest in a mangled pile, and a crowd of onlookers had gathered, murmurs of horror mixing with moments of terror. Lily jumped out, her heart beating loudly in her chest. Memories of her own loss flooded her, but she pushed it down. No time for pity now. There were people in need. Sarah, you take the injured people. Look for anyone who needs help. Wally commanded, stepping into a role that felt instinctive. Tom, Noah, look for a way to clear the road. Lily, you can help us direct traffic. Lily opened her mouth to protest, but the words caught in her throat as she watched her new friends spring into action. They had all been faced with their own struggles, and yet they were here, fighting for others. Okay, she said reluctantly, but with resolve. Maybe she could find purpose in this chaos, a piece of herself she hadn't known she was searching for. moving towards the traffic, waving her arms. Her voice rose above the din, an echo of strength. Each wave, each command felt like a thread weaving her deeper into this group, into this life. Both fear and a sense of belonging filled her, but as she turned to check on the others, a scream shattered the air, sending chills down her spine. Help! Someone's trapped inside. Lily froze, the weight of their reality collapsing over her. Could she face this? Would she be able to muster the courage when it mattered most? The stakes had risen. The quiet place she'd found within minutes ago felt like a distant memory. What awaited her on this hill would challenge everything she thought she knew about herself. Lily's heart threatened to jump out of her chest. A scream piercing and filled with desperation echoed in her ears. Instinctively, she took a step back, but then she caught sight of a figure pinned inside the mangled car. The flashes of red and blue from the emergency lights illuminated the scene, casting an eerie glow over chaos that felt like a nightmare. Lily, we need you! Wally's shout pulled her from her paralysis. His eyes were wide, scanning the area, looking for any sign of help. Get the bystanders back. We need space. She nodded, even if uncertainty still tugged at her gut. This was the moment where she had to decide. Would she be guided by fear or the instinct to help? Taking a deep breath, she turned back to the crowd, finding their anxious faces. Everyone, please step back, she shouted, her voice gaining strength. We need to give them room to work. Move back. A few people hesitated, caught in their own frozen reaction, but most began to shuffle backward, giving her a sliver of space. She could feel the adrenaline pumping through her veins, igniting a strange sense of responsibility within her. This was the first step. She was not just a bystander anymore. As she set her sights back on the car, she felt a connection to that trapped person, someone's child, maybe a sibling, someone who mattered. The urge to help was overpowering. She took a hesitant step toward the wreckage, drawn by the cries for help that pulsed around her like a heartbeat. Help! Someone! The pleas from inside seemed to echo her own internal struggle. I can't breathe. Hang on. We're coming. Wally's voice was steady, reassuring. He turned to the nearest emergency team member, yelling orders. Get a cutter over here. We need to get them out now. Heart racing, Lily watched as more first responders rushed in, their movements swift and practiced. But she couldn't shake that nagging fear. What if they couldn't get to them in time? What if she couldn't do anything at all? Keep talking to them. Sarah's voice broke through. Tell them you're not alone. Without thinking, Lily stepped closer, kneeling on the cold ground, peering through the shattered window. Hey, she called out softly, can you hear me? What's your name? The figures shifted within the wreckage, and a small, strained voice called out to her. Ava, I'm stuck. It hurts. I'm here with you, Ava, Lily said, her heart aching at the raw fear tainting that name. We're going to get you out. Just hold on for me, okay? Can you do that? Please, it's so dark. Stay with me. Just focus on my voice, Lily urged, reaching subtly toward her own memories of panic and helplessness. You are not alone. Help is coming, I promise. Just breathe. Try to take slow breaths. A trickle of tears fell down her cheek, and she quickly wiped them away. She was talking to this girl, connecting with her. She needed to feel her presence too to understand they were fighting the same battle against fear. Wally and the first responders worked frantically, metal crunching and bending as they struggled to free Ava. Almost there, Wally shouted. Just a little more. Each second felt like eternity, each breath in her chest heavier than the last. Sharing moments of hope with a stranger was both terrifying and beautifully human. Lily, behind you! Sarah shouted suddenly. Lily turned to see a young boy, wide-eyed and trembling, clutching a teddy bear, his innocence stark against the chaos. He had wandered closer, likely searching for a loved one. The instinct to protect surged through her. Hey, buddy! Come here! She opened her arms, inviting him into the warmth that had become her newfound strength. For just a moment, the noise faded, the car, the urgency, all of it. Lily focused on this boy, realizing each of them stood in the shadows of their own fears. They weren't alone. Then, the sounds of pounding and metal screeching returned. "We got her! We got her!" shouted Wally, and everyone turned toward the car. It was happening. As the paramedics pulled Ava free, the air filled with a collective breath of relief. But for Lily, it wasn't over. One voice had connected her to a need deep within herself. As they carried Ava away, she felt that need solidify, a real purpose igniting inside her. Would this experience awaken something in her she had buried so deep? Just then, she caught a glimpse of the boy again, looking lost and yearning for comfort. Lily's heart swelled. She wasn't just a spectator anymore. With each moment, she drew closer to who she was meant to be. But as she walked toward him, a different shout shattered that brief hope. "Wait! There's someone else!" And just like that, her journey of courage was far from over. The sirens wailed in the distance, a constant reminder of the chaos unfolding nearby. Lily's heartbeat pounded in her ears. She stared at the crowd, watching their expressions shift between fear, dismissal, and flickers of hope as the paramedics took Ava away. The boy stood there, clutching his teddy bear tightly, his eyes wide and darting. Lily felt a pull toward him, a need to bridge the distance that still held him captive. She crouched down, meeting his gaze. "What's your name?" "Ethan," he whispered, his voice quivering. "Okay, Ethan," she said gently. "Let us get you away from here where it's safe. How about we sit over there?" She gestured toward a patch of grass a few feet away, trying to distract him from the sight of the wreckage. Ethan nodded silently, and she took his hand. It was small and cold in hers, a reminder of the innocence that could be so easily shattered. As they moved away from the scene, the tension in Lily's chest lightened just a bit. Sitting on the grass, she could still hear the sounds of the rescue team, the urgency in their voices a backdrop to the quiet space they had found. She glanced back at the wrecked car, a gnawing worry starting to grow at the edge of her mind. Were they truly safe? "Do you want to tell me what happened?" she asked Ethan softly, watching as he hugged the teddy bear even closer. "I was with my mom," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. "We were going to Grandma's. Then the car went boom." A shiver ran through Lily. She could only imagine the terror of such an experience for a child. "And where's your mom now?" Ethan's eyes brimmed with tears. "I don't know. I lost her." He buried his face in his bear, the weight of the moment pressing down on both of them. Lily felt a surge of empathy fill her. In that moment, it wasn't just about Ava or the accident. It was about this boy, sitting before her, feeling lost. "Hey, Ethan, it's okay," she said softly, wrapping her arm around him. "I'm sure she's with the first responders. They're very skilled and will help her. You know, they're heroes." He peeked out from behind his bear, confusion still etched on his face. But what if she doesn't come back? The question hung heavy in the air. It reminded Lily of her own fears, her struggles. She thought about impulse and hesitation, the exhilarating yet terrifying instinct to act or remain still. "Sometimes," she began, "things happen that we can't control. But there's always hope. Always." They sat quietly for a moment, the sounds of chaos still echoing in the background. For Lily, each breath she took felt lighter, as if she were sharing that weight of fear with Ethan. "You want to join me for a little game? Let us pick out shapes in the clouds," she suggested, trying to brighten the mood. Ethan sniffed and wiped his nose on his sleeve, a small smile peeking through. He looked up at the sky. "Okay." As the two began to play, pointing out shapes in the clouds, nostalgia washed over Lily. It had been years since she'd let herself enjoy simple moments like this. Each silly shape they crafted became a moment. For a heartbeat, they were safe, away from the agony waiting just beyond the grass. But the stillness was disrupted when more sirens pierced the air, sharper and closer now. The weight of worry crept back into Lily's heart. She needed to know the outcome for Ava, for the boy, and for everyone who had been caught in that horrific event. Just then, Wally approached them, his face streaked with dirt and concern. "Lily, we've got an update on the situation." With her breath caught in her throat, she stood, instinctively placing a protective hand on Ethan's shoulder. Is it about Ava? What happened? The lines on Wally's face deepened as he looked back toward the chaos, and she felt a deep rumbling of dread settle in her stomach. It's worse than we thought, he began, looking directly into her eyes. A chill ran down her spine, and she braced herself, knowing that whatever news awaited would change everything. There's another person trapped inside the other vehicle. Lily's heart sank deeper. She realized that her role in this story was beginning to take on a magnitude she had never anticipated. Would she be strong enough to face whatever was about to happen next? Lily's mind raced as she absorbed Wally's words. The air felt charged with impending dread, like a storm about to break. She turned to Ethan, whose face had drained of color. Ethan, I need you to stay right here, okay? He nodded, his grip on the teddy bear tightening. Can I come with you? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Lily felt a pang in her heart. She wanted to shield him from all of this. I'm going to be right back. I'll promise to be quick. She could hear her own voice tremble, but she forced herself to smile reassuringly. Just sit tight. As she stepped away, a part of her wished she could take him with her, to shield him from the chaos, but this was bigger than both of them. She dashed toward the havoc, scanning faces, looking for answers or for anyone she recognized. The rescue team was in full swing, masks and gloves on, focused on the men and women trapped in the wreckage. A knot tightened in her stomach as she approached one of the paramedics. What is happening? What do you need? She urged. His scuffed boots shifted on the dirt, his hands moving with precision, but his face looked strained. There's a mother and a child in the other vehicle, he said, urgency in his tone. We're trying to get them out, but it's complicated. What do you mean? She felt her heartbeat quicken, dread rising. Are they okay? He glanced back at the vehicle, then back at her. We're doing everything we can. Just keep your distance for now. Lily felt a wave of frustration crash over her, a mix of fear and helplessness. She turned towards the wrecked car, her thoughts jumping to Ava, to Ethan, to every person who had been caught in this nightmare. With each passing second, an oppressive weight pressed against her chest. She couldn't just stand there. She needed to do something. But what? A voice piped up behind her. Lily! It was Wally again, rushing over. I found out more. The child Ethan's mom is unconscious but alive. They're trying to stabilize her. His eyes scanned her face for a moment, looking for hope. That's good, right? She breathed, grasping at any shred of hope to hold on to. Yes, it is. And, you might need to be ready. They said they'll need someone to comfort Ethan once they get her out. He's going to need you. Lily nodded resolutely. I will be there for him, she vowed, feeling a surge of determination rise within her. She wasn't going to let the darkness swallow them. As the minutes ticked by, she stole glances at Ethan, still sitting in the grass, lost in the shadows of uncertainty. She returned to him, kneeling beside him once more. Ethan, they're working hard to get your mom out, okay? And she's going to be all right. His eyes met hers, still glistening with fear, searching for reassurance he desperately needed. What if they can't? What if she doesn't wake up? Lily felt the raw weight of his question, that innocent fear that could only come from someone so young. She had been there herself, faced those demons countless times. You know, sometimes we have to be brave for the ones we love. I know that sounds scary, but you're braver than you realize. He held on to her words, drawing strength from them like a lifeline. You're brave too. It was a simple statement, but it struck a chord deep inside her that sent chills rippling down her spine. She had never felt especially brave, always caught up in the routine of her day-to-day life. But here, in this moment, she understood what it meant to face fear for someone else. Just then, she heard shouts from the rescue team. We've got her. We've got her. Ethan's eyes widened, his breath hitching in his throat. Lily grasped his small hand tightly, feeling the warmth of his tiny fingers in hers. This is it, Ethan. Let us go. As they rushed toward the commotion, her heart raced with mingled hope and anxiety. Would they finally get the miracle they were all yearning for? In the distance, she could hear Ethan's soft whispers. "Please be okay, Mommy." What awaited them on the other side? Lily and Ethan wove through the crowd, the noise of sirens and voices blending into a dizzying symphony that matched the chaos in her mind. For each step, each heartbeat, the weight of the world pressed on her shoulders. She couldn't shake the image of the car, metal twisted like a piece of paper in a child's hand. What would they find inside? The hope and fear mingled within her like oil and water. As they neared the site of the wreckage, she spotted the rescue team surrounding the car. There were paramedics inside and out, their frantic movements a stark contrast to the stillness inside the vehicle. She squeezed Ethan's hand tighter, an anchor in this storm. "Stay close to me," she whispered, drawing strength from him as much as she hoped to give it. The team was making progress. A paramedic shouted instructions, and a loud wrench echoed as they pried open the passenger side door with weighted effort. Lily's breath caught when she saw the outline of a figure inside the car. A woman, her body still and pale. "Please let her be okay." Just then, another medic emerged, cradling a small bundle. A baby, no older than a few months. Lily's heart sank. She glanced down at Ethan, whose expression morphed from one of hope to deep concern. "Is that my mom's baby brother?" The innocence in his question stabbed at her chest. "No, Ethan," she managed to say, her voice trembling. "It's not." The paramedics finally pulled Ava out into the light. The sight knocked the wind from Lily. Ava was limp, and the medics were working on her, focusing on reviving her. Time stretched into eternity, as Lily's throat constricted. She couldn't remain an observer anymore. Moving closer, she put her hand on that of one of the medics. "What can I do? I want to help. Just keep the boy calm." He gestured to Ethan, who was watching with wide eyes, tears sliding down his cheeks. Lily turned quickly and knelt in front of him. "Ethan!" Her heart ached as she looked at his tear-streaked face. "You remember the binder I used to keep all your drawings? It was a special one, right? Maybe we should think about how proud your mom will be when she sees it." His eyes were glued to her, searching for the glimmer of hope she tried to project. "Do you think she'll like my drawings?" "Absolutely. She's going to want to see every single one. Just think about that." Ethan's sniffles quieted as he focused on that image. But just as fast as she offered it, doubt crept back in. Would his drawings even matter if Ava didn't survive? Suddenly, a commotion erupted. A cry rang out from the medics. "We need a defibrillator. Now!" The world around her faded, the noise racing through her mind as dread washed over her. She felt paralyzed, fear tightening around her like a vice. She watched as they fought to save her friend, the woman who had taught her not just friendship, but also how to love like it mattered. The heart monitor began to beep erratically. The medics exchanged hurried words, urgency gaining traction. "Come on, come on!" Lily stood helplessly, tension radiating off of her limbs, making her feel like a puppet with its strings cut. Ethan turned to her, bewildered. "Will they bring her back?" "I don't know, but they're trying their best." For that moment, in that storm of chaos, she realized just how fragile life was. Moments like these brought out the humanity in them all, reminding everyone around them how twisted hope and despair could be. "Stay focused, Ethan. What's your favorite drawing?" As he began to describe the swirl of rainbows he decolored just last week, a soft voice broke through the delimiting silence before chaos. "Lily." She turned, heart racing, to see Wally approaching, face pale and eyes wide. "They're stabilizing her. They think she's going to make it." Ethan's shoulders lifted, a flicker of hope igniting in his expression. But Lily's heart clenched. They weren't out of the woods yet. "Let us celebrate that, Ethan. When we're all together, we'll hold that drawing up for her." As the rescue team whisked Ava away, a bittersweet exhaustion washed over Lily. She knew this was only the beginning. What awaited them at the hospital? Would they be able to hold on to their hope? The world felt unsteady, but one thing was clear: they had weathered the worst, and now, they had to face the next storm together. Would they emerge stronger or would it shatter them? The air in the hospital was thick with tension, anticipation tugging at every heart. Lily clung to Ethan's little hand, still shaking from the whirlwind of chaos they had just experienced. The emergency room loomed before them, sterile, cold, a stark contrast to the warmth they had felt a short time ago. Moments earlier, they had been in the midst of laughter, stories, and hope, gathered around a table full of pancakes and shared memories. Now, the vividness of life felt uncertain. Will my mom be okay? Ethan's voice was tiny, but the weight of his question pressed on Lily's chest like a rock. She knelt beside him, trying to summon strength from within, strength she sometimes doubted she had. She's a fighter, just like you, she said, her own voice trembling. Ethan bit his lip, blinking back tears. The innocence and fragility of his spirit broke her heart. She thought of how he had clung to the teddy bear, how his whole world had flipped upside down. Do you want to draw together? It could help pass time, she suggested, hoping to redirect the storm of emotions swirling around them. Can I draw my mom? He asked, brightening slightly. She loves it when I draw her. Absolutely. Lily responded, feeling a lift in her spirits. They rummaged for a notepad, her heart thrumming in rhythm with the hope she projected. What will you tell her about today? I'll tell her about the pancakes and how you helped me. He started drawing, letting his small fingers glide over the paper, his frown shifting to concentration. For a few moments, they were lost in the art, the sound of the world outside fading into a blissful hum. But then, a nurse emerged, her smile warm but serious, and she beckoned them. Ethan? Your mother is awake now, but she's asking for you. Can I see her? His eyes sparkled with a mix of anticipation and worry. Yes, just keep calm for her. We want to make sure she stays comfortable. Lily kept her hand on Ethan's shoulder as they followed the nurse down the hallway, each step echoing the hope coursing through them. As they entered a small room, the sight of Ava nestled in the hospital bed, eyes barely fluttering open but full of love, filled the space with warmth. Mama! Ethan shouted, rushing to her side. Ava reached out with a pale hand, brushing her son's curls. The sight brought tears to Lily's eyes, filling her with pure gratitude. Ethan, Ava murmured, her voice hoarse but filled with emotion. You're so brave. I'm so proud of you. Recognition bloomed sweetly in Lily's heart. In this moment, something had transformed within her. She was not just someone helping a boy, she was part of something so much bigger than herself, a life woven into the fabric of their community through every struggle, every triumph. It felt like the missing piece of her soul had been found. Thank you for keeping him safe. Ava turned her gaze toward Lily, her eyes shimmering with gratitude. It means everything. Lily felt a rush of warmth. It was more than just words. It was an acknowledgement that tied them all together, a bond created in shared struggles and hope. I'm just so glad you're okay, she managed to say, emotion thick in her throat. Ethan sat on the edge of the bed, then remembered the drawings. Mama! I made a picture for you! He exclaimed, suddenly excited. As he held it up, Ava's smile spread across her face, illuminating the room. Can you show me? I want to see everything, she said, her face lighting up as their laughter filled the sterile room. The joy ignited something within Lily. She knew her purpose now, to be there for Ethan, for Ava, for herself and a community that continuously shaped her existence. They had all faced their storms, but together they had weathered the fiercest of moments. As time stretched on, word spread, and more friends from that breakfast arrived, filling the hospital waiting area with colorful energy and quiet chatter. The veterans had shared their own stories too, standing strong. They rallied together, the very same way they had during breakfast, sharing pieces of their lives and experiences. It had become a circle of resilience, one that would only continue to grow. Lily stepped outside for fresh air, feeling the sunlight warm her skin. She couldn't help but glance back at the gathering crowd inside. It felt like home to know they all supported one another, sharing laughter amidst tears, and hope amidst fears. Hey, came a voice. Turning, she saw Tom, his brow slightly furrowed. I owe you an apology, Lily. You were brave today, and I didn't recognize that before. The weight of his honest words lifted something in her. Thank you, Tom. We all have our battles, don't we? This town has been held together by invisible threads, and you've created a connection we all needed. Let us keep building on that. It matters, he spoke with fervency. Lily's heart soared, feeling the swell of what they could do together. This was just the beginning. She was alive, filled with purpose, and she could feel the warmth of community radiating beside her. Let us keep building, she announced, a fiery brightness in her eyes. As the energy surged around her, she realized hope has the strength to overcome any retreat into darkness. They could be the change. This was their moment, their connection. It was time to forge ahead, together, united, unyielding, and forever transformed. You need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm so we can keep sharing these exclusive stories. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this empowering ending. And share instantly. Send this video to at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and embrace their own journeys.